I'm really staunch about like rehabilitation and like journeys and processes, which means that like if I have a friend who's done a bad thing, they're not like dead to me. I'm not just gonna drop them immediately. I think if everyone just disowns people immediately for wrongdoing, like nothing works.
This is very eye-opening. Seeing her point of view on this, Destiny's so lucky to have a person like her.
So the reason why I said Erudite and Destiny is essentially, I guess in my mind, this is a little too far for me to want to be, I don't know, buddies with someone.
But I don't know like why that implicates my character.
Well, I mean, we work with him. Like, he is the reason why you exist.
It shouldn't implement her character. This is where I'm going to disagree with Turkey Tom. And
I start hearing the $1 million amount, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think that's going to give her anything that she's looking for. I know that she's never going to receive it.
This isn't a bunch of high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this.
Sure, but the law and morals are different, right? In the case of like recording somebody against their consent and then releasing it against their consent is a totally different action to me than like having it sent to them and then thinking it would stay private because they're sending it to somebody else and giving it to somebody else, which they shouldn't have done.
Okay, so you were okay with working with the piece, to be clear.
I was willing to work with somebody who up and then also showed remorse and was like willing to try to help the person that he over and correct it. Yes.
Yes. Like she's literally sticking with him when times are tough. That is so admirable. I like that so much.
But I don't know, I guess the main thing is like, I think it's fair for you to say that you disagree with my choice to side with Steven. I think what's not fair to say is that I'm like going out of my way to like gaslight a girl, manipulate her, and to convince her to not go public. It's such an unfair representation of me.
Yeah, that's true, 100%. Anyone that's saying that about Erudite has lost the plot and is Destiny bad brain, basically.
And I said, Steven, that's really f***ed up. Like, that's not okay.
I really want to talk about Erudite. This lady right here, the talking with Erudite. My opinion on the Destiny stuff has changed a little bit because of all the new stuff that came out and a little bit of peer pressure. Let's just say that. This video. Yeah, talking with Erudite, Destiny's allegations. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now you can see it. This is very eye-opening. Seeing her point of view on this, it makes me, Destiny's so lucky to have a person like her. I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very extremely lucky to have a person like her. Like, it's we're gonna watch it. This is the one that I really want to watch the most. We're gonna do this now. And yeah.
So the same day that the Destiny allegation stuff initially went.
This is the second video, so we're going out of chronological order. Like, this would be the first one, Destiny video 6 days ago, and then talking to Erudite 5 days ago, so this was in the middle. And then there's a new one that came out a day ago. Everyone is dropping Destiny, and that's where the Brianna Wu stuff comes in. Counterfire, I don't really know who these. I know Brianna Wu, but I don't really know who Counterfire is. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna do the one that I want to talk about. They do talk about this stuff. They talk about it a little bit and in a serious type of way too. So we're not joking about that type of stuff. So yeah.
Went public. I got reached out to by Erudite, Not So Erudite, or Kyla. She's Destiny's co-host of the Bridges podcast. She has a business with him, and she also was seen in the DMs interacting with Pixie, the alleged victim of the allegations. And basically, she wanted to talk to me about her position based on the fact that there had been a lot of DMs leaked where it looked like she was kind of trying to, at least from my perspective, initially cover for Destiny and maybe help him out and quell the situation from going public. So she wanted to talk to me about that. And this video is that interview where we talk about it. We go into the DMs. We talk about her perspective and her intentions. And I questioned her a little bit on a variety of things regarding the situation. So I think the interview will mostly speak for itself as far as whatever people want to come to conclusions on. But yeah, without further ado, this is the Erudite interview. She personally said, "Hey, I saw a video where you said Destiny Erudite. I can understand how you came to that conclusion from the information that's available and the framing that's going on."
Oh yeah, for anyone that's actually watching the video from the VOD, no, not the VOD, the stream. Well, the stream, the VOD, or the edited down version. I didn't blank those out. He blanked those out, which I appreciate it because then I won't have to do it. But if there's like some sort of inconsistency in like what I blank out and what isn't blanked out, know that some of it's from me and some of it's from him. Yeah, that's all I really need to say.
If you're open to hearing me out, I'm down to talk to you about it in private. I'm also comfortable with you recording it and using that for content. I like you, and I think you're one of the few unbiased and responsible commentary YouTubers. So I feel like you might be open to getting my side with extra context and information. So we're going to be doing that. No word from Big D, But this is, I guess, the best we're going to get for now. I think he said he wouldn't be talking about this stuff pending certain legal action, so we'll talk to her about it. We'll see what she has to say. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be bad. Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right. How are you?
It's been a day. Been a long day.
Yeah, just to let you know, I'm recording already, in case there was any question, just so it's totally clear. So yeah, what did you wanna talk about the Steve stuff that's going on?
Yeah, I figured I wanted to reach out to you, as I said, just because I think you're probably gonna be the most fair, but it also seems like so I'm only really gonna speak probably to my side, and then if you have questions, I'll answer what I can. And I guess like the main thing for me is it's when people are looking at the texts that I'm sending back and forth with Pixie, they're getting like a very clip-chimped version of the exchange. Just so you are aware, I've talked to Pixie about an hour and let her know that I was talking to you just to get consent. So I asked her basically if I could give you DMs to basically be like, the way I'm getting painted here is like really, really far from the truth, and I don't really know why.
You look like Ghislaine Maxwell.
I know.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll maybe start with like the first. So I called Pixie and she immediately was like, I'm so sorry. And just so it's clear, you can text her as well if you want, like on Discord, and confirm like everything you want with her. Like I'm not like she's totally fine with it. She mostly just feels really bad about this. So this was the text that she sent me today, just so you have an idea of like where I'm coming from and that she is like agreeing. She knows that I'm sending you these texts. The only thing is that if there's receipts that
I love all the factory games. We got Space Factory game, Planet Factory game. We got the 3D Factory game. We also got Factorio, the 2D Factory game, the original Factory game. And yeah, I just love I like Factory Sims. So like, come on now.
you want to ask for, I'm happy to give them. I just want to make sure that
This is
I send them
Dyson
to
Sphere
her as
program for
well,
anyone that
because I feel
cares.
like
The game.
it's like the one thing that hasn't happened in this whole situation is like her consent being included. So
Yeah, it's her story, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want you to be clear that like I'm being above very intentional about that, and if there's things that I don't answer, I apologize. There's just
so I can show this text you're sending.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me see here. So this says, let's see here. Hey, I'm still worried for you. Are you okay no matter what? Please never hesitate to reach out. She says, hi, Kyla. I'm sorry for not getting back to you earlier. I've just been really overwhelmed with the situation. I didn't consent to President Sunday receiving those messages at all. I feel like they painted both of us in a really bad and untrue light. I really appreciate that you care so much about me and have been checking on me so often.
Oh yeah, this President Sunday guy, he's the one that started this whole controversy in the first place and made this thing public, basically. So I'm assuming President Sunday probably does not like Destiny because he's the one that put this out there, but it kind of hurt Pixie in the process, and that's why I think it's really scummy. Like it's not really scummy for trying to hurt Destiny. Like if you're trying to hurt Destiny, I understand why. But you in the process having this information come out there is hurting Pixie, which is like you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't like the collateral damage of you just trying to hurt Destiny is literally destroying Pixie, and that's kind of garbage, not gonna lie. Like, it's a really bad thing to do. So yeah,
just asking if I'm okay.
Really scummy thing to do.
Go that far if you didn't care. I feel really guilty and bad because I didn't expect things to get leaked like this at all. Okay, so I guess you're just showing here that you guys are on good terms, basically. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I guess the biggest question for me would be from the DMs, and I did prepare. I pulled up a bunch of them, so we can kind of, if you don't mind, we can go through them.
Yeah,
in a moment here,
that'll be perfect. I can kind of show you the context around the DMs that you have as well.
Okay, perfect. So the biggest thing for me is that it looks like you're essentially playing mediator for Destiny so that he doesn't have to directly talk to the alleged victim. It looks like that's what's happening here. You're playing mediator. You're trying to diminish consequences for him and diminish sort of culpability for him by not having him have to admit anything outright in a DM in regards to what happened in the situation. The situation being that it seems to be the case, at least, that he essentially got an explicit video of them together and then sent that to someone without her consent. To your knowledge, is that true? Did he do that?
So I also, just to be clear, I already told Destiny that this is what I was going to say to you as well. So everyone's just like fully consented. And I can again show you all the DMs of me letting him know that this was what I was going to be saying. When I confronted him in Miami in like early December, when I went down in person, because I wanted to talk to him in person. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I asked him, did she know you were recording? And did she consent to it? He said that she did know about the recording, like she's aware, she did consented to the actual filming of it, but he said specifically, probably not. Like it was 3 years ago, I don't remember specifically, and like things were open like this, but yeah, probably not. I didn't get like explicit consent. And I said, Stephen, that's really fucked up. Like that's not okay. And so just to be clear, he would say, I didn't completely say, but I read that very strongly as him acknowledging that he did not have consent to give it.
Right. Okay. I guess the biggest question from there would be once you...
Yeah, Destiny's like, oh wait, actually, I can put this to 1.5 because they don't speak so fast. Lewis talks really quickly. Destiny talks really quickly. I can't put them at 1.5 speed because 1.5 is essentially almost 3 times speed for normal people. And then some people are just so ultra slow talking, like what's that guy's name? Finkelstein, the whole Israel Palestine stuff. Yeah, he's ultra slow, and you could put him at 2 times speed and still hear him clearly. But
had that conversation with him. That was, you said, December of last
early
year?
December. Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
this is understandable.
How did things develop from there?
Yeah, so I was notified. So when the leaks happened, I was having like a community event. So I wasn't actually aware of the leaks until I think just like honestly like a random person messaged me being like, have you seen this? And I was like, no. I still actually haven't looked at the leaks. I have like personally just a policy about never looking at like leaked nudes and stuff. But that's back. So this is back before I talked to Destiny or Pixie. That's when I reached out to Straight Away because I was hearing that it might be Pixie. And I figured if it was her, I was also hearing that she's saying it wasn't her. And so I was like, if it was or wasn't her, I don't really want to put her on the hot seat with like me talking to her and making her feel confronted. So I'm just gonna like check and see, because to me, if he didn't even have consent to record the video, then this is a whole different ballgame. Like it's a whole different plan of action of like how I am gonna process what's going on.
Right. But to your knowledge, he did have consent to record, just not to share it.
Yeah, or at least consent to have it. I don't know if he recorded it or she recorded it and sent it to him. I'm not actually familiar with like how the video was made. But yeah, it sounds like he had consent to have the nude in the sex tape, but not to send it out. That's what Aaron said to me. And I was like, okay, well, thank fuck he didn't record somebody without
Aaron
them
is
even knowing.
Straight Raid?
Yes, Aaron's
Okay.
Straight Raid, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So you found that out. Sorry.
I texted Pixie. Yeah, so after that I texted Pixie. So for context, Pixie and I have been friends for like well over a year. Like we're not just two orbiters, but we worked in PV together. When I'm in Miami, I hang out with her all the time, independent of Steven. Like we have our own friendship. We've been good friends for at least a year. So as soon as Aaron confirmed to me what was going on, I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable like checking in with her and seeing how she's doing. Texted her and she basically like immediately told me like everything that was going on. And I was like, okay, holy shit. I believe let me just check because I don't want to give you wrong information. I believe we called a bunch because I checked in on her a bunch as well.
No,
it was all over text. Yeah, it was not on Discord. It was all over text. Okay. So December 12th, I texted her and I was like, hey. She's like, hi. And I said, do you want to chat or just have a friend? I'm really worried about you. She responds.
Once you found out about the stuff that was going on with the
Once
videos
I found
that were
out.
being public.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I reach out. I don't know. You don't probably need me to read everything, but basically she tells me that she's feeling a little bit suicidal, but she's not planning to kill herself immediately. And she's like trying to figure out like what to do about it.
like I said, this is I don't know how the platforms that I'm on is gonna handle this, but if I get nuked randomly or there's a cut, well, it's because they're talking about something legitimately serious. So
the situation. I respond, but tells me everything. I'm really sorry. I won't begin to tell you. I understand because I don't, but I do care, and I do want to see you safe and find peace. Do you mind if I ask to spend some time with you? She said yes. We make a plan to meet up, and then we meet up. December 13th. We're talking about the time. I send her a restaurant. We go against that one. Malua. Okay, Friday, December 13th. There we go.
So
Friday,
you guys
December
met up
13th.
in real life and had a conversation about how to proceed?
Yeah, and how she's doing. Because at this point,
Had you talked to Destiny, Steven,
no,
about this stuff?
I had heard about
Abby
it at
Anders.
this point, and he had basically like
hey, what's up? Thanks for stopping by.
the only thing he had said is being like, hey, I'm worried about Pixie. Like, I think she's suicidal. Like, you should, like, if you want, you should probably check on her.
He told you that he was worried about her being suicidal.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
you
I did.
didn't go check up on her. You meet up in real life, and what?
Yeah, but I texted her beforehand, just to be clear. I'd already texted her about wanting to meet up and talk anyways, and
Yeah.
he just gave me the extra information. She's suicidal.
Okay. How did that conversation with her go?
It went honestly really, really well. I will say, so like part of when I went into it, was I was trying to evaluate like how suicidal, how serious the risk was, and like where she was at, just because I don't know if you're familiar with my background, but I've obviously had a lot of experience with suicidal people. And so like the first goal for me was to be like, are you like an acute risk to yourself? Like what needs to happen? If not, what can we do instead to kind of help you get out of like this place?
Okay.
In that conversation, basically, she kind of told me about how she's been suicidal like most of her life, how she's been struggling a lot. But the concerning part to me in that conversation, I guess, like what more specifically was pertinent was she was actively cutting off friends so that to prepare for suicide. So she was cutting off friends so that if she did and opted to kill herself, it would hurt them less. So at this point she had...
I'm listening and playing Fall Guys, LOL.
Yeah, listening and playing. Yep. That's, for some reason, some people just don't know how to do that. Like some people see people like game and listen to a video at the same time, and they're like, not sure how they do that. It's like it's mind-boggling. But yeah, it's more common than people think.
Broken up with a couple of friends and stopped responding, and a couple of friends were trying to hang out with her and she wasn't responding to them.
It does depend on the game, though.
I don't think she probably wants any of the names of the friends leaked. At least she said, like, please don't give any of the names out. So you can check with her separately if she wants to give you names. But yeah, just different friends in Miami. Yeah.
That's fine. I believe that she was suicidal over having her news leaked. And before that point in time, that's fair. Okay, so
yeah.
What was your kind of goal throughout all of this? Because obviously it puts you in a very awkward position where on one hand you're trying to help out your friend, but at the same time, I mean, you're, I don't know if you're employed by Destiny, but you work with him. Obviously,
we co-own a business together.
Yeah, right. So like what kind of position are you in at that point? Like how are you feeling? Are you thinking like, can I continue working with this guy if he's doing this kind of stuff? Are you thinking of cutting him off? Like what kind of position is that putting you in?
I mean, before I sent the message to Aaron, I was talking to my husband, like to Nick, and I was like, if he recorded somebody without their knowledge and sent it out, like I don't think I can, like I don't know what to do. I don't think I can work with. Like that's a line I can't. I don't fuck with that shit. Like that's insane. And it sounds like I know recently like Cherry has made some statements. Just to be clear, I don't know anything about those leaks, and so like I don't know. I need to figure out what's going on with those additional leaks, because like a pretty hard line for me is like if somebody does according to somebody else, that's a pretty hard line for me.
Right. Well, even outside of the recording, I mean, the question of what, whether or not the recording was consented to, the spreading around certainly wasn't from your perspective. Is that enough to draw a line
100%.
or no?
So it's not for me. The issue is that what was a line for me before, I was like, okay, if she did consent to the recording, but not to the spreading around, which I'm assuming that she hadn't, then I said, what matters to me is like how he responds. Is he trying to fix it? Is he being remorseful? Is he like reaching out to her to like find some level of solution? If that's like his initial response, that to me is a lot more meaningful. Because
well,
like,
I guess my question would be like, why do you draw a line there? Like, it's not like he slipped on a banana peel, like he was in one of his goon sessions and he decided to send a video to some random Discord e-girl of Pixie engaging with him. Like, obviously he had to have known that, whether or not he was the one to leak it to the public, he had to have known that he's running the risk of that video being publicized when he's sending a video of, him and another person sexually interacting to someone random that he met on Discord, or even somebody he may have trusted, right? Like, if Pixie didn't consent, he had to have known he ran the risk of that being publicized in some way, considering how, how much public scrutiny there is around Destiny, and frankly, how many people would love to have a video of him engaging in that, as we've seen from the Twitter stuff, right? Like, was that not something he should have been pretty, forward thinking about?
Yeah, I agree that like the issue is like it's not that I'm not saying it wasn't a fuck up. Like I agree that it was a fuck up, and I think it was a massive betrayal of trust. Just to me, like recording somebody and then without their knowledge and leaking it is like a full on it's a pretty like sexually invasive crime. Leaking somebody's nudes I think is also really bad. To be clear, I think it is really bad. But the issue is that I think it's fundamentally just a more common issue that people do. It's definitely, in my experience, not the first time that somebody.
Yeah, I understand Erudite's logic here. Like, it's not a deal breaker if it were to leak. Like, leaks happen all the time. This isn't something that you should just completely abandon a friend over. Like, you should talk to the person, see if they're making amends for it, and Destiny is. To her, she is saying that Destiny's making amends to it, so at least for her, this is not a break. This is not like a point of like where she needs to like disconnect from him. Like if Destiny was just laughing at this and being like, yeah, whatever, okay, who cares, then she would have disconnected from Destiny. But Destiny's actually trying to make amends for this because he knows that he screwed up, and she sees it and she's like, well, you know what, forgiveness. She's not religious, but like forgiveness is like a thing,
Somebody has like leaked nudes. I think it's really bad. I think it's not okay. Like when you hear about like guys like showing other guys like tits that some girls sent her, like I think it's gross, and there's a reason.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I would want to hear my friend out and let him tell his story.
This isn't a bunch of
Yeah, true. Yep.
high schoolers, right? This is a 35-year-old guy who's doing this.
Sure, but the law and morals are different, right? In the case of like recording somebody against their consent and then releasing it against their consent is a totally different action to me than like having it sent to them and then thinking it would stay private because they're sending it to somebody else and giving it to somebody else, which they shouldn't have done. Like these are just the intention and everything.
And this is why at the beginning of this entire thing, I said, Destiny is very, very lucky to have a person like this in his life. Very, very lucky.
It is a lot different to me.
So is your concern entirely the legality versus the morality? Because the morality not really a big question for you?
No, I think morality is a really big question. But I'm saying that basically, to some degree, I suppose I'm saying I agree with the law here. I agree with the law drawing a line here.
Like, she's literally sticking with him when times are tough. Like, that is so admirable. I like that so much. Like, I think she would call herself an atheist, but like that's such a Christian thing to do. I like it, and she has a legit reasoning for it, like a legit like mental reasoning for it. And I just love it. I just love it. It's very respectable. I think that's the word. Admirable, respectable. Yeah.
Saying like this is a even more severe action. Both are really bad. The issue is that one of them is like criminologically bad, and the other one is like you're a fucking piece of shit.
Okay, so you were okay with working with a piece of shit, to be clear.
I was willing to work with somebody who fucked up, and then also showed remorse and was like willing to try to help the person that he fucked over and correct it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess moving on from that interaction. So where did the kind of conversation go from there once you had gotten his side and gotten her side? You, at that point, a lot of the DMs seem to be you kind of mediating, talking to her about what she wants versus what Steven is willing to provide and do. What was your kind of perspective on those interactions? Before we get into the specific stuff, I guess just overarchingly, what was your goal there?
Sorry, I think I'm not understanding your question. Could you just rephrase it?
I guess, okay. What was your goal past that point? Once you found out what he had apparently done, and you seemingly got confirmation, once you found out how her feelings were on it, what was your goal past that point? Was it just to help Pixie out? Was it to protect Destiny from the allegations?
No. So like this is the biggest frustration. I don't know if you've seen the Fairy Queen leaks or whatever. I don't know why people keep saying this. They keep saying that I asked her to delete the comment, but you can just read my message. I explicitly tell her I'm messaging her because I don't want her to remove the comment. I want her to remove the identifying piece where she talks about like friends, because I don't want anything that could narrow it to Pixie, because the main thing that Pixie has said to me over and over is the publicity piece. So the only thing that I have cared about, by and large, has been following what Pixie feels that she needs in that moment, right? Listening to like what she's asking for. There's certain things it's possible that she could ask me to do where I'd be like, I'm not comfortable facilitating this, right? But saying something like, please don't make my name public, please don't address it publicly, and please like try to keep it as quiet as possible, 110% I'm going to do that, like no question.
So you say the Fairy Queen leaks, you mean is this message, right? Let me just to confirm with you.
Yes. So if you read, I get that you're mad, that's fair. Your comment is kind of confirming that it's them, which they're denying and drawing more attention to there. I'd really appreciate if you considered removing that part of your comment, right? Just that part. And there's a reason I didn't just delete it immediately, because I'm fine with the discussion of it. I'm fine with people like talking about whether Destiny's a piece of shit. I think all of that is really valid. But what's not valid is like making Pixie's plight worse. That's not valid. And like until she decides that she wants to go public, I'm not taking that from her.
Right. So here, Fairy Queen asks, they say, do you acknowledge that Melina is claiming Steven shared these videos without her consent? Have you confronted Steven about this? Will you dissociate from him for sharing another woman's sex tapes without her consent? You said, gotcha, I'm not an extension of Steven, you're not a feminist, and you blocked her. Well, were you blocking her because it seemed like she wasn't going to edit her comment, or because you didn't want to answer these questions publicly? Like, what was the concern here, I guess?
It basically seems like, so Fairy Queen and I have a history, just to be clear. A really weird history, where she constantly is accusing me of things, and then coming to me behind the scenes to like help with reality or certain things. And the reality is that if somebody's life is at risk and they need help, I'm just going to give it. I'm always going to give it. And so Fairy Queen at this point and I had two separate interactions where she had come to me because somebody she knew or a friend of hers was suicidal, and she was looking for like steps about how to handle it. And I helped her every single time. One of the times was also a mutual friend, like Xena. All that stuff is very, very public. I did a lot of the similar stuff with Xena. I met up with her. I think with Xena, I actually spent a night at her house just to like keep her safe when she was really distressed. Xena, I also did like multiple safety calls for her where like I reported like as she was attempting like to the police and stuff like that. So Fairy Queen has this weird dynamic where she keeps coming to me for help with stuff, which I'm always willing to, but then she'll also be like, but why are you such a piece of shit? Why are you friends with Destiny? He's a horrible person. And I'm just like, look, like if somebody needs help, I'm always willing to. There's lots of things I disagree with Steven about. But yes, I am still willing to work with him. So that's part of what's driving this. When she like sent all those questions, I was like, oh, so every time she said like one thing that she really cares about is women, I don't know if I believe her, because it seems like she's willing to hurt Pixie to like get at Steven. And I'm not interested. And at that point I blocked her and deleted the comment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, because she's not a feminist if she's willing to hurt Steven and have Pixie as collateral damage. And Pixie's like, she's a female, so like, if you're willing to have her as collateral damage while trying to hurt the other guy, then you're obviously not a feminist. And that was the whole point of her saying that. That makes sense.
With that out of the way, I think the thing I wanted to go over next would be all the text messages between you and Pixie that got leaked. Now, before we get into that, I guess my question would be from you. Do you know the way that these text messages, looks like iMessage, do you know the way these texts got leaked? How did this end up getting out? Who was this sent to that ended up sending it to someone that ended up getting it publicly? What was the chain of events here?
It sounds like Pixie sent it to Aaron, trying to like basically like this is what Kyla's saying. Pixie and I have talked. She's also willing. Her and Aaron aren't talking anymore. But she is willing to like if need be. Obviously, she wants to be as publicly implicated as possible. So if you need it, you can probably reach out. But also, I don't have it because I didn't ask for it. But basically, she was constantly telling Aaron like, "What do you think about this? This is what Kyla's suggesting." And Aaron was saying like, "I think she's being sneaky," and Pixie was being like, "I don't think she's being sneaky." So I think the only text she has is because those are the specific screenshots that Pixie sent to Aaron. I'm not 100% confident. From my understanding, Aaron directly leaked them to Sunday. I think Beckett of Crabs or whatever, he covered all the leaks on stream. It sounds like Sunday got them directly from her. I don't know how Beckett got them. I think some people are saying I think it might have been through Smugbug because Aaron's good friends with Smugbug. I don't know though. I have no idea how Beckett got the DMs, and I don't know if Nicholas got it from Beckett or from Sunday or like what the transaction is after that. I have no idea.
Okay, and I haven't seen Pixie directly talk about Sunday or I guess maybe Bad Empanada is someone that people are talking about right now. But I saw her. Just let me find her tweet real quick. In her thread, she had said something to the effect of let me see here. I've got it. Okay, so she said, if you're a leftist who has talked about the situation without so much as contacting me, you owe me an apology. On top of being a victim of revenge, I now have to deal with people lying about my dating life and further dehumanization of me. I know I shouldn't elaborate more, but I think one of the worst parts of what's happened is learning how so many people I genuinely thought were my friends are so easily willing to betray me. I don't understand what I've done to them to make them want to treat me like this. So do you know who she's talking about here, or is she not willing to?
I'm speculating it's Aaron. I didn't ask her specifically. I would speculate Aaron. I know she's feeling, she basically, I called her tonight and she was like, Kyla, I'm so sorry. And I was like, are you okay? And she was like, Aaron backstabbed me. Like, Aaron backstabbed me. So I'm assuming it's Aaron. And Aaron is a leftist, but I genuinely have no idea. I would assume though.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, do you want to get into the text?
Sure. I think it's probably worth saying because I think people are like, the biggest question people have is like, why I'm sticking around Destiny. And so I just want to like answer that question, I think, a little bit more extensively, which is A, if something else comes out about the leaks, which is like more pernicious or criminal, I was like, I probably won't, but I don't engage with friendships in the way that it feels like people are kind of expecting me to.
This is actually the part where I said I need to watch this. This is the part where I said I needed to watch this. So yeah, listen to this very, very carefully.
Maybe in the public, I'm really staunch about like rehabilitation and like journeys and processes, which means that like if I have a friend who's done a bad thing, they're not like dead to me. I'm not just going to drop them immediately. I'm going to confront them, usually in a way that I think is most productive, particularly if they've done something that I think not just violates like my values, but their own values. This isn't the first time I've confronted Steven on different things. It's just the biggest thing that I've confronted him on. But there's been multiple times, like even in this like cutie Cinderella drama where he started like making fun of her. I was like, why are you doing this? Like this isn't your values. Like this is something you don't believe in. He's like, yeah, you're right. Right. So I think if everyone just disowns people immediately for wrongdoing, like nothing works. I have like my entire dream is to like work with high risk, like my entire career previous to this was working with like drug addicts and juvenile delinquents, like people who've done really, really fucking bad shit. And so I don't know. I understand why people may be confused because maybe they don't feel similar, and I don't put this on anybody else. Like nobody else has to orient themselves towards Steven or anyone else who's done something wrong like I do. But basically the moment that I saw like remorsefulness, accountability, and like a step-by-step plan of like how he was going to correct the issue, that's when I was like, okay, I can still work with this person because it's like the try and the accountability that matters to me, not just like the actions alone.
So I think that, that's somewhat understandable from, a friendship perspective. I think that the thing that people are going to bring up, though, is that you guys aren't just friends. You're business partners, and he's not just any business partner. He is, a massive liberal commentator who's constantly making moral judgments about other people's actions and behaviors. Meanwhile, he's got this going on. I mean, I think a big part of it is like, I think this really calls into question, like if he even has a right to criticize other people's character and morals when, I mean, it's one thing to be, to have everything else that he's done before, which, there's a lot, let's be honest, there's a lot, but I think this rivals all of that definitely, in terms of severity. And it calls into question, his respect for other people's consent to, their own news being leaked. It's like, now how can anyone possibly feel bad for him for getting his news leaked when he was doing that to someone else? There's a lot of questions around this. And I mean, even on top of that, I mean, he's trying to be a serious political activist and commentator, and he's, running around, messing around with all these Discord girls, sending, and I mean, this is not, to be clear, Pixie's not the only person who's been affected by this. I mean, there's been Lauren, obviously, in a different way, but he was sending messages not too long ago, that they had shared together, seemingly in confidence, and ended up getting leaked. There's Melina's allegation, obviously, his ex-wife, who he, kind of painted as like a absolute crazy person, and there's this going on, so it's...
Yeah, yep, Destiny has a lot of female scandals. A lot of old female scandals. Yeah, this is not something new to the guy, man.
Like,
this is just the first time it actually went to a lawsuit. This is the only time it's actually been to a lawsuit. But he had scandals with females before. So
there's like, it kind of calls into question. I mean, even people are saying like, oh,
this is not to write off this. This is not as an excuse for this. But I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of desensitized, or I'm not as angry or livid because he's done this so many times. And I'm desensitized because of that, which isn't, I mean, it's an excuse for me for why I'm not super upset about it. But I mean, I'm also not super upset about it because it lowers Destiny's credibility. And that makes me really happy because he has some really good arguments that I can now easily dismiss because of what he just did and the firefighter thing. And yeah, so might not be in good faith, but hey, he literally brought this upon himself. Maybe he should have not did that, So you can't blame me for why this came out.
Mr. Girl was right. It calls into question his entire history in a way. I mean, it's not just a question of you and him are just buddies, right? You're business partners. He's a public figure. He's a public commentator where he talks about other people's actions. Like, do you think that's a huge concern?
Yeah, but the issue, it just is no longer like, the issue is like, this isn't a moral concern. This is now like business advice. Like if anyone said, do you think it's bad business strat? Probably to some degree, I suppose. Like it's probably better that I diversify and like look elsewhere because he is a brand risk. The issue is that like, Stephen does bad things. Stephen was a piece of shit. He was negligent in this situation, right? He wasn't trying to hurt anyone, but he should have known better, and he does know better. And actions have consequences. And the reality is, like, I wanted to see this resolved in a better way for everyone, right? That's obviously like what I wanted. But when I was thinking about essentially like how I want to manage friendship versus business, I basically decided that when it comes to like business and friendship, there are certain things that I have to draw the line on because I want to run like a treatment center in the future, and I like even friendships can't come before that because that's why I'm in social media, is to like gain the money and the network necessary to fund that without having to rely on like churches, basically. But
because she's an atheist.
I want to act with my friends in the streaming world the way that I would act if the public.
I'm not sure. I'm just assuming. I don't know if she's actually an atheist or not, but she doesn't want to rely on churches, which means she just doesn't. She probably is an atheist, I think, or maybe she's agnostic, and that's in Destiny's sphere, that's kind of controversial, even though agnostic is like the least controversial thing you can be. But yeah, I digress.
I wasn't like looking at everyone, and there wasn't like optics and narratives that I had to like obsess with, because I feel like so much of relationships on the internet get monetized in a way that just like leads to this like incredible like loneliness and isolation, and I'm just not willing to do that to my friends. And so like business strategy wise, would it be better if I like dropped Destiny or not? Like there's probably arguments on either side. There's probably some people would be like, actually it wouldn't because he's such a huge platform. Actually it would because he's such a brand risk. And I think all that's valid. But I think fundamentally the question that I've been operating with in this whole situation to this point has been, how do I want to conduct myself with my friends? Like how would I treat my friends if there wasn't going to be public scrutiny on top of this? Because I don't know, I guess that's the only way I can sleep myself and like in my mind like have some level of like consistency in how I treat people, because my friendship is going to be determined fundamentally by like who's in trouble now, right? And I don't know if you ever like watched the Amber Heard Johnny Depp stuff, but it's like who's in trouble now shouldn't be the way, if I was close to Amber Heard or to Johnny Depp, shouldn't be the way that I engage with them as like a friend. I should try to figure out like what happened, what went wrong, what do you feel accountable for, and like trying to get as much information as possible, and speaking out when your friends do something wrong.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I think it'd be good to get into the text.
Oh, I don't know if you saw like one of the texts. I think this has also been included, but when she mentioned specifically the money, the reason that I clarify, I think that's like just a little bit down in the thread. So after I say, gotcha, thanks for not sugarcoating, I list the 3 things that she wants to make sure that I'm understanding what she wants communicated. She outlines the problem with number 3 is because of the removal of the video and the guy getting hacked, Stephen has to face consequences proportional to his actions. And so I say, okay, so what you want to, okay, so that is what you want. It wasn't clear to me before. This is what you want specifically. My understanding was more rehabilitation, but the specific thing you want now, which is for him to lose a certain amount of money. This wasn't like in a judgmental way. This is specifically because when her and I sat at the cafe, she was like talking about the money, but she's like, fuck, I don't even care about the money. She's like, I just want some sort of consequence so that if he like ever thinks about doing this again, he won't, right? I just like want some essentially like level of punishment. And when I was like, do you want money specific? Like what specifically are you asking for? If I'm like talking to him like on your behalf, like what are you looking for? At the time, she didn't say specifically money. It was just one thing she thought of, but she wasn't bent on it. This is me clarifying because we had that conversation that specifically what she's wanting now is for him to lose money, because that's different than what I had understood before.
Yeah, we got this DM. Let's see here. Anything about it? Because I'm happy to communicate what you need broadly as a sense of justice. I'm not sure what I think about the specifics of money and punishment in this case. Not saying you're wrong. It's just the tone has changed from our previous conversation. So this is you just kind of dealing with her, sort of not totally knowing what she wants at the time, which I guess is fair from her.
Well, specifically when I started hearing, so I think at this point we've had a phone call maybe once or twice, and I start hearing the $1 million amount, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think that's going to give her anything that she's looking for. I know that she's never going to receive it.
She wants $1 million. I mean, Destiny can definitely front that. Destiny has a lot of money. Like he has a lot of money. He could definitely front that easily. But bro, she's asking for $1 million now. This is going from she's been like her thing has been leaked by this guy, and now she's asking for $1 million in damages. You know what? I think Destiny's gonna have to front it. But like, to anybody, the only reason why this is okay, the only reason I can kind of see it as like something that's okay with this, like I'm not outraged by this amount, is because he can front it. Destiny can afford $1 million, can front $1 million. It's gonna hurt him a little bit, but he can definitely, like he could do that. He has the capital for it. If this was any other person that didn't have that type of money, I would be like, don't even like listen to this person. She wants $1 million because you leaked something. Nah, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
That once or twice, and I start hearing the $1 million amount, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't think that's going to give her anything that she's looking for. I know that she's never going to receive it. I don't think that that's like a good direction for her to go, if I'm being honest. But also, if that's the direction she wants to go, she should. The main thing is I can't be the one communicating that. I can't mediate that, because that's now like one of my friends asking like for $1 million from another one of my friends, and it's not something that I necessarily like feel comfortable with. So I'm saying in this specifically, like, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable communicating this part, because it's now different than I understood, but I was comfortable communicating everything else to him.
Okay, yeah, because she says, I'm not sure about the specifics regarding money or punishment. I believe in rehabilitation, but part of rehabilitation is penance. The person understands what they did is wrong, takes corrective course of actions and actions to help pay penance to the victims. So and then I think the following one here is she says, I just want to know he'll never do this again. And this is like the biggest mistake of his life, basically.
Yeah, I'm sorry for using you as an intermediary. I can send these messages and conversation to him myself too. I just feel like if he tells me too directly, it would be emotionally harder to handle than if I heard it from you. But I totally understand if that's not something you're comfortable with, and I'm sorry to put you in an uncomfortable position. He's also alluded to financial compensation, but I don't think he really understood the concept of proportionality of the action, since he asked if there were any bills that he could pay.
So the reason why I said fuck Erudite and fuck Destiny is essentially, I guess in my mind, this is a little too far for me to want to be, I don't know, buddies with someone, seeing that they sent a chick's nudes around. I mean, you know, maybe if he was like 16 years old and was in high school, I would be like, okay, well, I don't know, 16-year-olds are fucking weird, but I don't know, he just seems a little bit too old to be doing this, in my opinion. It seems to be an extremely precarious situation he's constantly getting himself into with his dick, with these random women. It just seems like very bad. And I guess I do see it as very, you know, I understand you're trying to help Pixie out, but at the same time, like, I don't think he's someone to be taken very seriously. Or honestly,
yes,
or, you know, trying to, I don't know, like sticking by him throughout all this, and like, you know, I don't know. I guess it just leaves a very, very bad taste in my mouth. I guess it's something that's hard to communicate. It's a little bit of an emotional thing, but I think that's how a lot of people are feeling. It's just like, it's a very fucked up situation. It's very fucked up.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think if people feel like they can't associate with him anymore, I genuinely understand that. Like, that's not something I would criticize others for. And I think there are others that are in your position. I just understand. That's just fundamentally like not where I'm at.
Destiny isn't a serious person. He is an entertainer. Only see him as an entertainer. His arguments in the political sphere, gone. No need to associate with that. Like, true, 100%. Turkey Tom, let's go.
I'm not willing to forward.
I'm not gonna disown Destiny though, but he's not a serious person. I agree with that part.
A specific thing, and it's also something like Pixie and I have talked about, like at some level of length. I don't know if it's meaningful, but like one thing she hasn't been asking.
Yeah, I say that as if like Destiny even knows who I am. It's funny.
For in part, is
he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't.
I think if she asked,
actually, no. I think Destiny does. He might know me a little bit, because like one of my videos made way more. Actually, no, we'll just leave it. Let's just say that I made a video that's very similar to his video, and it made way more views than his. I think it doubled and almost tripled the amount of views that he got. Mostly because it's a 10-hour stream, and I made a 6-minute thing, but like, come on.
Think about it. I don't know what I think. I have literally no idea. But I don't know. I guess the main thing is like, I think it's fair for you to say that you disagree with my choice to side with Steven. I think what's not fair to say, which is like spreading everywhere, is that I'm like going out of my way to like gaslight a girl, manipulate her, and to convince her to not go public, and like to do Steven's dirty work. When it's like, it's such an unfair representation of me.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. Anyone that's saying that about Erudite has lost the plot and is basically Destiny bad brain, basically. Yeah, that's what happened. Like, they're not thinking when they say that.
Like, I've been calling and checking in with her like every 2 days. We talk on the phone pretty often. Like, my whole orientation in all of this is helping her.
Just like how people are Trump bad brained. Like, I would accuse Destiny of doing that, and there's lots of evidence that Destiny is just Trump bad brained, and that's why he has all these really like stupid views on him. I would argue stupid, but the whole Erudite thing, and calling Erudite like what she just said, like, it's just, I'm just repeating myself, but like I have to reiterate this, like it's true, like it's just people being Destiny bad brained, and since you're Destiny associated, then therefore bad. So everything that she does that looks like a little bit of a defense, like there's always like a little, they just write her off as like some sort of, you're just defending him, just defend him. And then they get conspiracy theories about, oh, you work with him, so it's a financial endeavor, like, and I'm like, she's literally saying that it's not, but I guess you don't care about her word,
and
you don't trust her.
Like, I think somebody like Destiny, who gets in a lot of trouble with his dick and is interpersonally, I think, really retarded, is probably going to be better off with people who care about him and will like confront him on it, but also not just like drop him. But I think if other people want to drop him, like, I wouldn't say that you're a bad person for doing that. It's just not something I'm willing to do yet. And like, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be by my words, but I'm not doing it out of this like willy-nilly, just like 2 week. I'm doing this out of like a decently principled stance, which is that typically like I don't give up on people. I think the argument like he's just too old, I'm like, that's fair. It's just tough because I've had so many adult clients that it's like, I don't know. Not a lot of 45-year-olds doing a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, age is there's a lot of older people out there that are just stupid, make stupid decisions, and oh well, they're much older, they should know better, right? And I'm like, yeah, they should know better, but they still do it, and there's a pattern of them doing it. So like the age argument is like there, like I understand, but at the same time I'm like, it's like you'll blame a kid. I guess they had more opportunities to learn their lesson, but I guess they just don't. Well, and they're just a lost cause, so just dip. I understand the argument. I really do. There really is no defense for it, but that type of argument just isn't good enough for me. It just isn't.
Because like I don't know, trauma and like problems associated with being a fucked up person don't just like go away because you're older. They just like come out in different ways.
Yeah.
Why do you care about this guy so much when he doesn't seem to care about, I mean, anyone else, at least enough to not share their news around?
I guess because I see actually tons of markers of him caring about people and also being negligent and bad when it comes to sexual relations. I see tons of evidence of him caring about people.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that answers most of my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to say before I end off the recording?
I guess, do you feel like it is fair in this situation? I guess, what do I do about this? The entire time I've been reaching out to my friend. After the conversation I had with her the first time, she reconnected with a friend she had cut off and was willing to go and see her friends and start calling them more often, and basically made a commitment to like being safe. That's where we made the safety commitment as well. I'm doing my best to help my friend because I think that she was wronged here and she's done nothing wrong here. And I also confronted the friend that I think did a wrong thing. But I also am trying to like push and encourage him to change. I've disagreed with him and fought with him on a couple of things about being like, you should do this. You need to be doing this. I don't understand a world where like these actions lead to people going like, you're a bad human being. And
I think the way people see it is like you're trying to mitigate the situation with Pixie because you are financially interested in continuing your relationship with Destiny for a profit, basically. I think that's the way that a lot of people see it. Because obviously you guys have a business.
Yeah, but if that's the case, why did I say to Fairy Queen she could leave the comment up? I just asked her to remove the identifying part about Pixie. Like none of my actions have been about covering for Destiny or preventing people from talking about it broadly. It's been from like all it's been about is addressing people talking about Pixie specifically. Like I've never in any world not wanted people to talk negatively broadly about even being an idiot and like negligent when it comes to like things to people's trusts in sexual dynamics. Like I've never been opposed to any being concerned about that. I don't ban like general comments and talks about it. I explicitly with Fairy Queen asked her to not talk about things that could narrow the scope of who it was, particularly because at that time, most people didn't quite know who it was. I didn't look at the leaks, but when I would like listen to like Reservoir or other people, I kept hearing like, I'm not really sure who it is. I'm not really sure who it is. Even like shout out to like Queenman, even though we kind of hate each other, he had like the good grace when he was covering us to like be pretty mindful of not making it clear who were in the leaks. Like that's been my behavior the entire time. Like nothing really differs.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. That's why, you know, I obviously I don't know if you know this. I had heard about this stuff for a few weeks. I didn't really have any direct confirmation until a couple of days ago, but I had heard about this stuff going on, but I wasn't going to cover it. Firstly, because you know it was just an allegation at the time. There was no evidence of anything. But secondly, I was under the impression that Pixie didn't want it to get out. And then all of a sudden, I'm in the middle of streaming and I see President Sunday and Cope and T, the drop videos identifying Pixie. At which point I was like, okay, well, it's fucking out now, I guess. But
I was literally in the same thing. I was in the middle of a stream, and then I gave my 2 cents because Wick TV was talking about the whole allegations about when Pixie sent out the tweet saying that she's officially doing this. Like that dropped when in the middle of my stream, so I was kind of like, what just happened?
You know, and that's
I was like kind of dumbfounded. Gave my 2 cents, and some people didn't really like it.
One question would be, and Beckett had
actually some people didn't really like it, but it was like they were on the fence. Like they didn't like my take, but they wanted to like my take. That was the weird thing. Usually I get like just advocate hate or just ad hominems, but this time it wasn't really hate. It was more like I don't like what you're saying, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, it was more charitable. People were more charitable with the disagreements this time on that video.
Original
kind of funny
statement, it seems like, from Pixie, where she implicated kind of Dan Saltman and said that he told her not to make it public. Do you know why that wasn't the original one, or maybe why it was removed in the final?
I have no idea. I definitely don't talk to Dan about, like, I just have a very strict business relationship with Dan.
Okay, gotcha. But you didn't talk to Pixie about maybe what she may have talked to you about?
I didn't actually know that was in there. I haven't like gone through all the videos today. I've been traveling, as you said, and I've mostly been like trying, like I spent the whole morning trying to be like, is she safe? She said, because she told me originally that if she went public or she had to go public, she was going to kill herself. So I like spent most of the morning trying to be like, how, if she potentially doesn't feel like, I didn't know if she had leaked the stuff about me. So I was like, I don't know if she feels comfortable with me, but somebody needs to check on her to like make sure that she's safe, because like Sunday painted her pretty terribly, which I think, well, she confirmed to me today, made her make the public post today to try to like clear her name a little bit.
Oh, Sunday actually made her look really bad? I didn't know that. I'll have to revoke, because I didn't watch the Sunday thing, so I don't know if, I just assumed that Sunday only brought that out just to hurt Destiny. I guess she didn't, I guess he didn't like Pixie as well, which I guess it makes sense to throw that out there, but yeah.
And this is like
I'm gonna have to clarify that.
If this happens, like I am myself. The opposite is true. I not only like wasn't pressuring her to be quiet, I was explicitly not pressuring her to do anything except for whatever she would like to do.
Based on all the messages I've seen, it doesn't seem like you were pressuring her to stay quiet. Yes. Correct. Okay. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, this cherry thread seems to be mostly just stuff that everybody's already seen, but.
And so I guess when you say like you can't take me seriously, I guess I'm just like I don't know how to take that. Like, do you basically think that like everyone should disavow Destiny? Like, should he be basically fully canceled? Do you think like even though I've done like my entire orientation with him behind the scenes has been like I can give you receipts of this as well from like way back in the day where I was like messaging him like telling him he was wrong.
I don't know. I guess it's just like to me it's like how do you take someone seriously as a political commentator when like he's unconsensually setting.
No, you shouldn't. You should. I think he said specifically. Maybe she's taking this the wrong way. I think what he said in the previously is that you shouldn't take Destiny seriously, not her seriously. I think she's taking that more personal than she should have. I mean, I don't understand why Turkey Tom doesn't actually try and clarify it that way, but yeah, he doesn't want to take Destiny seriously because of this stuff. Like, no one's going to take him seriously in his political takes or anything that's supposed to be serious. Like, he's just not going to, like, politics is serious. This isn't a serious person if he's going to be going through these types of scandals. People are going to dismiss him, and it's okay to not take him seriously because of this, especially since it's something that keeps happening over and over again. And, yeah.
People's nudes around. I guess I find it hard to take someone seriously in that position.
But that doesn't mean
I think that's fair, right? But this is like, can you trust his political content going forward? Which is valid. I think that's probably an important business question for us to like answer. But I don't know like why that implicates my character.
Well, I mean, we work with him. Like, he is the reason why you exist. He's the whole reason for your.
It shouldn't implement her character. This is where I'm going to disagree with Turkey Tom, and like it shouldn't. It doesn't implement her character. It shouldn't at all. 100%. Like, guilt by association, I don't like that type of stuff. And Turkey Tom is kind of doing that. I don't like guilt by association. It's stupid. Like, it's a very intellectually lazy thing to do. That's stupid. That's a lazy way of thinking about things. Let's just say that. Or intellectually lazy. Yeah.
For, business partnership, for like Bridges podcast, like all of that shit is like because of him, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
An extension of the Destiny community. The guy running the community.
Yeah, that is stupid. Yep, that is stupid.
That he's like farming. Which actually brings me to another thing that I guess I wanted to talk about, which is something I was just looking into. So I saw this post. This is from a year ago on the Destiny subreddit. It's from February 21st, 2024. It says, I'll send you the post right here. It says, Destiny addressing the canvassing complaints just to address them. It says, there's a conversation between Jacob, Lonerbox, notsoErudite, and Destiny on the complaints raised by some women at the canvassing event about being constantly hit on by the guys taking part in it, not being able to just exist without being approached by them, which can cause them to potentially not participate in future events. Destiny introduced very early on in the conversation the idea that any gender-centric space will inherently push away the other gender, regardless of what's done to make it accessible. He says, if it starts with 1 female and 9 males, it should never go past that 1%. Yeah, the conversation continued, bouncing the idea of Bumble law, where guys would be prohibited from asking women out unless they ask them first, and consider telling participants to keep it professional, like in a work setting. Both of them were shut down. Essentially, I guess what I'm kind of getting at here is it seems like this is an all thread regarding sexual harassment complaints, I guess, or weird conversation complaints with women at a DGG canvassing event. In the leaks, there are 2 videos involving Pixie. There's one that's solo, and a threesome with another orbiter, which is straight raid. People are claiming, basically, based on the evidence, that at least one of those videos occurred during a canvassing event. The link in this Reddit post, right here, if you click it, it leads to a stream where you and Destiny are talking about the harassment claims, and it seems like Destiny didn't want to make overt rules about flirting with co-canvassers. And people are kind of speculating that the reason why this is happening is because he'd no longer be able to use canvassing events as vehicles to have sex with fans and orbiters. This, to me, is tying into this greater idea of like fucking fans is one thing, but like he's fucking fans and then unconsensually sending videos of fans to other fans, and it's at the canvassing events, which is part of his political thing. So it's like it's all kind of wrapped up.
Yup, 100%. Yes, thank you. Preach. Thank you. This is what we use against Destiny. Thank you, Turkey Tom, for putting all of
Magus,
this, wrapping this.
You might be a stealer too. What's a stealer? You mean a thief? WTF.
Oh, I think you're a little bit behind in the stream. I think you're talking about the analogy that I made. I can make a better one if you want.
So I guess I'm just like,
you said
like,
that.
this like leads into like my whole thing about like taking it seriously, right? It's like, what is going on here? What's going on with Pixie? Like, it's not.
I'm talking about guilt by association. Like the whole guilt by association thing. I think that's stupid.
You can just divorce like these two ideas. Like, this is the political commentary. This is what is going on here? Like, this is all tied up in his content, in his canvassing events.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to go back to like your initial statement, just like I'm an extension of the community. I guess I don't like I have a podcast with him. I'm not an extension of Steven. I disagree with him regularly. When we have interpersonal disagreements, I handle it privately. I have no idea if he was hooking up with, in fact, if they're talking about Ohio, I'm pretty dubious. I'm pretty sure I was around because those two were working.
Yeah,
like,
I'm a bit behind, sorry.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
with me on that event.
How are you doing, maggots? Is that really how you? Is that how you say your name? Maggots? No, Magus. Yeah, whatever.
I'm pretty dubious that it was taken. I don't know for sure. I have no idea, and I don't know. I didn't even know that this leak existed. I guess I haven't looked at them. I genuinely would be very suspect that it was taken at the canvassing event, just because of like how often I was with both of them, and then all three of them, like in like public spaces. Pixie and Aaron had like each had their own rooms. Like Aaron was sharing a room with multiple people. Like there was a full streamer house, and the one night that I remember like Steven like hanging out like with just a few creators alone, he was hanging out with Jasmine, Jafar, and Irrelevant. Like they were just like talking. I think they just went back to his thing to talk, and I think maybe Lauren De Laguna went as well.
Okay.
So if it happened maybe the day after, I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure. I would be very surprised. Like I don't know when they found time. If I'm being honest, they were working like all day. So I would appreciate if people like, I don't know, it feels very icky to always be viewed as just like this like necessary extension of Steven. I don't like this idea that if I'm like friends with somebody, that means I'm like agreeing with all of his actions and behaviors. I think there are some things that are like non-negotiable, but I like acting like these things are like objectively agreed upon, and that everyone just knows what these are. I think it's pretty unfair.
Magus.
I think the
Well,
way
the name Magus was taken, so I had to go with Magus. Stupid, but that's the truth.
Oh, well, that's all right.
people have like responded to Pixie, like smearing.
Yeah, like my name was completely taken away, but I just did a play on words and I just made it sound like the way that I wanted to make it sound. Because like, I guess some people in the 1980s called themselves Mr. WhyzGuy, like, and literally spelled it properly. So I'm like, you know what? I want to call myself that. So I just came up with my own thing.
her and trying to paint her as an extortionist has been really gross.
Shut up, President Sunday.
Yeah, I think like first and foremost, the most important thing, like even when you're making this, is like to just be mindful if there's anything that I say that you're like, don't know if that will like cast Pixie in a bad light. Like I prefer it excluded, and I guess, I don't know, the disproportionate level of like hatred and vitriol that I feel like I've been getting for staying silent when the victim asked me to, telling a friend that he was wrong and trying to mitigate a solution for the friends, and then stepping back when that solution wasn't working and they were going to like legal things. I just don't know what else people are expecting from me, especially as like most people who believe in like rehabilitative justice. I suppose like I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess it is what it is. I'm doing my best to try to live by my principles.
Okay, all right, thanks. Well, on the recording. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And that's it. All right. And I think that's going to be it for now because I want food. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. Thank you. Do what's on screen because I got these. I put so much time into making these things and I don't use them. So we're using them. And yeah, thanks for watching.